This meeting is being recorded.
And welcome one and all. So I'm going to begin the program now for the November Planet Poetry 28, the only poetry reading where all the readers use the share screen with their poems as they read. This obviously adds a new dimension of appreciation and engagement for fellow poets and for lovers of poetry. We're all nearing the end of a second year here on Planet Poetry, and thank you all for coming. I'm Mark Fishbein with the Poetry Global Network, a group of poets that met during COVID in the open mic poetry readings and formed an organization offering online poetry, workshops, events, and open mics. Post-COVID, we are now partnering with poetry festivals around the world to do hybrid events, which are both live and on Zoom screens. So far, we have done Nottingham in England, Singapore, Chicago, and next is Greece. So look forward to that probably in January or February. We're also now publishing our first anthology book. It's coming out next month. So please add your name in the chat, your email, so I can contact you if you're not already on the mailing list, so I can get you keep you informed of our events and social media outlets and all the rest of that. Thank you very much. So in this event, there are a dozen featured poets, an open mic afterwards. I'll read a short bio to introduce the poets, followed by a 5 or 6 minute reading, which I ask all to respect, usually do. Following it will be an open mic for anybody that'd like to participate. Just put your name in the chat. You can read for 2 or 3 minutes or so. And you also have to use the share screen, which makes this this event unique. If you're not familiar with it, you can just send me a poem and I can put it on for you, or you can put it in the chat and we can copy it on and put it on the screen. I'll also ask everybody, I guess, to mute during the readings if there's an ambient noise and stuff. But please unmute after the reader reads, and maybe give some applause or some comments, some brief comments, which would be great. And what's nice about it also is it has been recorded. I put it on YouTube in a day or two, and so it's wonderful. You can go back and opportunity to revisit some of the poems that you've seen here, and some of the poets as well. So I'll begin. Break the ice, as it were. Let me put this off. People are still coming, so I'm just letting them in as they do. I'm Mark Fishbein. I currently live in Chicago, and I'm going to take a break from the poems about Ukraine and climate change and death and destruction and offer some recent, very light poems from my new home here in Chicago. I began taking pictures. Here we are. Let me put the 2 screen on, I'm sorry. And okay, can you all see that good? Thank you. So these are some billboards and other things, and I keep the picture that I took on the left and the poem on the right. This one is called Go with Ken. Ken Allen, lawyer, who hablamos español, forever charming the endless schools of trucks and cars on the Route 80 toll road. Every time I pass you and the ingenious way your hat pops above the billboard, I think of various personas. The singer in Paris, 1940, a Charles Trenet, the voice of Fado in Pessoa's Lisbon, the Scottish tenor who drives you to tears with the Bonnie Banks or Loch Lomond. Sometimes I see you as a Jewish comedian in the 1950s Blue Room at the Concord Hotel, or a second for Simon Templar, the Saint, or a Hollywood cha-cha teacher in the reign of Xavier Cugat. But no, instead, you are the slimiest bastard I've come across in years, with that sleazy snake oil salesman smile, who would use an ingrown toenail to sue for $1 million. And I've noticed everyone who passes gives you and that fucking hat you wear a finger. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Didn't mean to do that.
Excellent.
As an attorney for the Hat Man, I am not free to comment.
This is called Skims, a brand of underwear featuring Rosalia. Every day on the daily commute, she waits for me on Chicago Avenue, calling me to her belly button, Music comes from this cave. Trumpets and samba drums await my tongue. I will dwell in this land, as Moses said when he entered Midian from the desert. Oh, beloved America, land of celebrity underwear. Every day she stares as I wait at the red light with 20 seconds worth of hot flashes in poses from erotic tantra scrolls. This succulent womb awaits me to fill with rubies and bitcoins. What do you want, America? Relentless in waving pheromones at me, a sexual animal with acrobatic orgasms. But may the gods be merciful if my lust becomes unruly. Should I tell a passing woman she has eyes of great beauty? From a bank, Old National Bank posted this: you're never too old to get old. Even if the music you like is old school and your dishes and furniture are old as the hills, becoming one of the old dogs who remember the olden days when old was an abstraction. Same old, the heart is getting older. We are beginning to sound like the old farts complaining about getting old. Since the Old Testament, bring back the good old days became the mantra of the old time's sake and ripe old realizations. Once we said, when we wed, let's grow old together. Well, we made it to the old corral with old habits of the same old salt, giving the golden oldies the old college try, this moldy yet ripe old age, to treat each day as a resurrection.
That's good. That is very good.
Love always wins at the Carnival restaurant and lounge. Victory is renowned when dice of loneliness are thrown. Bring cash or credit cards and every Bitcoin you own. Prepare to go naked, except for your cell phone. Bring the hurt you hold deep in your bones, and our orthopedist will inject cortisone. Meet your mate when you come alone, a debauched hospodar, disowned. Enter straight, go home stoned, laying in a waterbed thrown. A trip to the palatial zone, satisfactions on loan, rare sex cologne, and it's known, free to groan, afterglow of holy moan. Oh, oh. And finally, this was a lamppost. In Chicago, it's interesting, you'd have a lamppost that would say on a Try Poetry. When I came across this one by this parking lot, Try Poetry. I try many things which lead me to keep trying to find something between Saturday matinee at the opera and Saturday night at the Roxy roller rink. I have tried meditations and psychosomatic deliberations, yoga and racquetball, but poetry, yes, I still try that too. It makes me break out in rashes. My knees buckle. I end up like an old mop leaning against a building, a stoned cowboy that has to pee, while my brain flickers with words like a dizzy swan, a streetlight beaming like a star, and there's no valet to park my car.
Tell it like it is.
You're aging
last,
gracefully.
beyond the original orange chicken, to which I haven't started yet because I can't get it started. So if anybody has any ideas of beyond the original orange chicken, I would appreciate that very much.
Okay.
And thank you. Well,
That was so cool.
I hope you enjoyed. Our first regular reader tonight is Grama. Grama, you're here, I see.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Grama K Jayaram, at age 81, is the author of 8 full short-length plays, 5 one-act plays, 2 books of poetry, and 2 short stories, manuscripts, translations from Hindi, and children's books. A chairman of Infosys and Transys, he is currently president of the Institute in Leadership, U.S. and India, ongoing nonprofit running free schools for poor kids in India and tutoring in the U.S. He has an impressive list of awards for his plays from Manhattan, Houston, San Francisco. It's just a telephone book. He has 2 children with his wife, Mrinalini, and welcome, Grama.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me share screen. Please hold on. I'll take a minute to get to the Can you see?
Yes, we can.
I'm just rolling up to the poem.
While you're doing, I have Linda Barnes on deck and Barry Wallenstein. Wallenstein will be following.
Sorry, I didn't think it was this far below. Your patience is much appreciated.
It looks like you have a lot there.
Here it is.
Okay.
How can I cancel whatever this here is? Sorry. Where did it go?
We're looking at your poem.
Yeah, an oath to swear, an oath to swear at. I should surrender to the FBI, or is it the CIA, and confess to the dastardly deed I did. On the 20th day of the 11th month of the year of our Lord, 1987, 12,535 days ago, I perjured myself. I swear I did. In fact, and indeed I did. Not just me, but 50 others that day, and millions, maybe hundreds of millions over the life of this country, maybe every first-generation immigrant said, nay, swore with words they possibly could not mean. And it was a state-sponsored crime. They gave us the words. Unless we swore those words, we would not get the prize. We would not be citizens. What words were they? Give me a listen, as the anchors say. Absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any king, etc., potentate, state or sovereignty of whom I have heretofore been a subject or citizen. Do you really think we meant our oath? If you do, would you buy a bridge from me? The authors of the oath, which planet did they come from? Whoever in God's name taught them how humans behave? What are we, reusable shopping bags? Empty one country, fill in another, life goes on and the bag doesn't give a damn? Oh man, give me a break. Do you see how those words in the oath practically cry out, perjure yourself or else? The moment a future citizen takes out a pen to sign it, if a polygraph test were to be administered immediately after oath taking, how many do you think would pass? Why did I come here? For a job. What did America need? People who want to work. So I need you and you need me. We meet and we work out the terms. And then we try to work for each other. That's quid pro quo. And I pay my dues. His secretary and I pay more taxes than Warren Buffett does. I ain't saying that, he did. And he's 1,000,000 times at least richer than me. My body and mind are not enough for you. You want to own my memories, my sentiments, my past loves. You want to own my soul? Oh, wait, that's not the last word on it. Above all, put this into your pipe and smoke it. The oath goes on to make sure you double down on the earlier commitments just in case the earlier words have not. I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. So help me God. Maestro, roll the drums. It's not enough to make me lie in front of the judge. You have to make me lie in front of God. How about instead, I take this obligation with trepidation, anxiety, and hope, all in unequal measures. And yes, with lots of mental reservations, seeking divine understanding. Is it treason when the temperature outside my New Jersey home excuse me. New Jersey home is -5 degrees Fahrenheit. If I remember fondly, the weather in my hometown of the first 27 years of my life, where the temperature rarely fell below 55 degrees and rarely rose above 90 degrees. The sights, sounds, smells, the music, the magic, and the maidens of my erstwhile home, are they to be banished to the dung heap of memory, never to be resurrected because that would betray my chosen new country? Do I draft a letter to my mother? Amma, I'm afraid I have to renounce you. No, they have not asked me to denounce you, not yet. Tell Appa, if there erupts a war between your country and my country, I'll have to fight you and probably kill you and Dad, all our cousins, and our dogs too. I hope you understand that does not mean I don't love you. It is just that I've just taken an oath and they will send me to jail or worse if I did not fight you. This is called naturalization. It is unnaturalization. Why not phase it in installments? Like in the first year as a citizen, you will like hamburgers and fries and of course baseball. And in 3, you will love red, white, and blue and know some of the words for the Star-Spangled Banner. In 5, you can actually sing it. And in 10, you sign a petition demanding a cap on immigration. And how about instead of absolutely and entirely renounce, insert gradually and in stages, try to forget. Maybe the oath is a declaration of intent, a statement for the present, a promise for the future. Can we dream the dawn of a day when every creature born on this planet belongs to all of the planet, is an equal owner of all the bounty, and a citizen of everywhere?
Hear, hear.
Thank you.
Amen.
Hmm.
That's a dream.
Well, thank you for that very curious insight into moving here. Where do you live?
I live near Princeton in New Jersey.
Well, of all the places to come to America, I guess New Jersey is as good.
No, I came to heaven on earth. I came to Southern California, man. And I was
Oh,
there
well.
for 8 years.
Well, welcome here in the dung heap of memory. Something to remember. And we don't want you to do anything. We don't want you to disown your mom.
No.
Thank you very
No.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks for reading. I can see why you're such a dramatic, why your plays have been such a dramatic hit. You have a flair for the dramatic in monologue. Thank you. Well, our next poet, Linda
I'm
Barnes.
a storyteller. Yeah.
Sure, yes. Our next poet is Linda Barnes. Linda began focusing on poetry in 2000 and trained in both journal and poetry facilitation after graduating with a master's degree in psychology. Linda teaches expressive writing methods in workshops and online. She is the past president of the International Federation of Biblio-Poetry Therapy. Indeed. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Mark. Thank you so much. I'm glad I'm going near the beginning because if I know you, this is a very illustrious group. I've been to some of your events and they always blow me away. So I will start my screen share here. Can you see this?
Yes.
All right. Notes during COVID. Now is the time to be introspective. Don't fight the silence. Let the heavy boot of stop halt your striving. Be still whenever you can be still. Let nature whisper her small prayers of grace into your ears. Let the breeze of this strange springtime ruffle your hair, remind you of endless childhood days, long outdoor hours, lazy afternoons, fresh mornings, nostalgic dark fall. Now is the time to be at home in yourself. Embrace your restlessness, your guilt and grief and longings. Time to acknowledge the dark side of your moonbeam self. Let the ancient goddesses speak to you from their places of wisdom. deep in sandstone caves and inside the sticky hearts of trees. Let the sounds of insects teach you that all things have their place. Now is the time to nestle down into your place, to cushion the core of yourself with the eiderdown of love. Now is to remember the time to remember all the kindness that has been shown to you, the time to increase your own expressions of kindness. Somewhere, someone needs this wisdom food you have been hoarding in your fearful shadows. Now is the time to let the joy beams of your heart finger out from the dark and shimmer in the fresh air. Is that showing up big enough or is it little?
Well, for me, it's okay, but one can always adjust in the options, in the view options to make it
Yeah,
larger.
I read it very clearly.
Yeah.
You did, okay, but I don't know why this is doing this funny thing. You are screen sharing.
You know, I just come back to the,
Come back to
come-
where I was?
yeah, come back to us for a second.
All right. Let's see, where did it go? Oh, I hate this.
I'm looking for it. There it is. It's all, keep going to the left.
Keep going to
Two
the
more,
left.
yeah, two more over. Right here. Yeah, you can't see. Keep going. Well, it's on the other side. It's next to the A in this in your settings.
Next to the A. Oh, for here?
No, right. No, next over to the right. I see it. Next to settings.
Next to settings.
It's just a little bit over.
Oh,
There you
where
go.
it
That's
is,
it. Yes.
where it's Zoom. Okay.
That should be Zoom. Yeah. Okay. That's just
All
the Zoom
right.
thing. All right. You know what? Just close down. Can you close down and we'll come right back? Thank
All
you.
right.
Give it
Now,
one more try. It should work.
screen
There you
share.
go. Yeah. Okay.
Participants and see your screen, but I don't know what happened to my document. 1 minute. Let's see. Oh, I hate this. I am so sorry.
That's okay. Have it.
I just hate this. There it is. Okay.
There
Now,
you go. That's okay.
is it big enough?
Yes, it is.
All right.
Okay.
My apologies.
Definitely don't.
To write about the pine, go to the pine. Basho. Our poems are waiting. Will fall upon us as sunlight through alder leaves. Send tiny fir needles, shaken free by a July breeze. Flutter down like ash escaped from a midnight campfire. Some have been waiting centuries, their granite faces scoured by ice and wind, and others waft in suddenly, a whiff of lilac there, then gone again. Lines channeled from William Stafford's couch. Every poet should have a window with a view of trees. At least two cats to make, it takes at least two cats to make a house a home. A little Bach can cure anything. Life without books is not worth living. Night is not the absence of day, but the presence of dark. When the red hawk soars overhead, she can see you living in your future. We are storytelling animals. We are makers of meaning. We are teachers and students in one continual interwoven dance of energy. We are doorways into the unknown. We are seekers of the unknowable. We are questing after the priceless treasure of divine grace. We are champions. We are wounded. We have been cast down and know what it means to bleed into the dark. We are rooted in mystery and stone. We open our throats like fragrant lilies and we sing. Thank you.
That was lovely, Linda. Thank you.
Thank you
I
so
love
much.
some of the, I mean, just past jotting down some of the lines, the sticky hearts of trees. A little Bach can cure anything.
That's right.
Very
know?
nice. Very nice.
And the
Very
last
nice.
poem just kind of reminded me of this great book that I have, The Technicians of the Sacred, about the history, the history of poetry in the world and through indigenous peoples. And you
Yeah.
kind of like locked right into that. It was wonderful. Well, thank you, Linda. And
Beautiful.
yeah,
Wonderful.
thank you.
Very kind, thank you.
Well, our next poet is Barry Wallenstein. Before I introduce all about his history here, Barry was my professor at City College about over 50 years ago, and I never actually had a chance to curse you for allowing me into this life of poetry. Damn it! But it's actually a great blessing, and thanks. I think you know what I mean. It's a curse and a blessing at the same time. Barry is the author of 11 collections of poetry. Most recently, It's About Time in 2022, and in 2020, Time on the Move and Tony's Blues. He has made 8 recordings of his poetry with jazz, most recently Lisbon Sunset in 2016. He's the Emeritus Professor of Literature and Creative Writing at CUNY and an editor at the American Book Review. Thank you, Barry, for coming. And let me put your poem on screen for you. Hold on. Thank you. Can you see that, Barry?
Yes, I can. Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you can make it a little louder. Yes?
The I am variations. I'm an old engine waiting for a shot of oil, a lubricant that's smooth, thick, dark, and viscous enough to slather my pistons so they'll suffer no friction, driving me home. I'm the hungry mite chewing on daisies. The yellow in the middle, the petals too, compose my day. No mild butterfly am I, though they too suck and cause some local trauma. We occupy the same territory. I am lassitude itself, last on the list, lolling about in a ring, drifting with a license to be my father, long underground. I am him, and my children well fed, all the family, the living and the dead. And the second one is excessive empathy. Foolish is the father not to fear and love madly his son, well armed, tall, muscular, and gripped by an anger with a hairline trigger. Lacking his howitzers, if contradicted, he'll employ a penknife, showing off an accurate thrust. Some fathers would fall out of love. This one never could. And when the son is absent from himself, the dad too goes missing. He searches streets and alleyways for creation myths, flood stories. Punished is this father in the final chapters of his condition for confusing his son's anger with his precious own. Unbelievable. My son is calling me. I'm going to just tell him I'll call him right back. Dan, hello? I'm in the middle of a Zoom reading. I'll call you back and I'll call you soon. Bye-bye.
He must have felt it.
He must.
You must have felt the love, Barry.
I'm gonna have to tell that story.
I hope he's not armed.
No. He left it elsewhere. So this is called An Escape from Death, if I can read this. Death stepped out of its shadow, grinned, and spit a poison in my direction. I ducked, ran to mother, whispered words into her ear. Tell him that I, the fruit of your loins, the light of your maturity, am out of town and will not be around anytime soon. Death sprouted wings, left the area, and made like a helicopter, dipping down, circling, rising up, searching into the creases of everything for someone else. A monkey even, or a boy with his ice cream cone dripping. Let it drip, young fella, and look me in the eye. No? Okay, one last look, one last lick, and then forget it and lie down quiet. The monkey escaped, safe into its mother's arms. The old man sitting in a corner is still too visible. Death already tastes him. He licks his chops around the clock. I am on my way to another zone, along with mother and her counsels. There looms the universal risk of outlasting the mother. So the final one I'll read was a response to two different headlines. The first one had to do with a party on Long Island that was obviously a racist event, and the person was quoted as saying, "These people are canceling me," because he threw this party that was mocking African Americans. So he felt canceled, but this was better. He's known as Chile's greatest poet. The feminists say Pablo Neruda is canceled. And there's a story behind this having to do with a memoir that was posthumously published by Neruda, where he confessed to some nasty doings with a woman in his younger days. And there was an airport to be named after Neruda, and there were massive protests in Chile to prevent that from happening, despite the fact that Neruda was a national hero, a Nobel Prize winning poet, and a brilliant senator in his day in Chile. So this is the ambiguities of cancel culture. Edison's bulb canceled the darkness. TV canceled radio, now an echo. The cyclone, signposts on its way, canceled the breezy day. Blacks canceled blackface. Bruce Lee canceled slant eye. Militants canceled the talk of COVID and other colors, hues, and drawls. I canceled a trip to Sluggersville, where the score stayed tied. Canceled the conversation around rape. Cancel the victim. Cancel the wrong. Cancel Lolita, 1984, Huck Finn. Cancel the defenders of books. Cancel the memory of '69, when nothing was canceled. That was the year of Woodstock, in case anybody missed that reference.
That was also the year that I was your student. And proud I am. Although those were so many years ago, age has kind of caught up with me a little bit. And I'm not that far behind you. Between my parents and all the experiences that you have there, really extraordinary. And I think we all really appreciate the fine craft, wonderful poems, and wonderful images that you presented. And I look forward to reading them again as I can when, as I'll see them on the YouTube. And thank you, Barry, for that presentation. Anybody else care to offer a few words? Of course, that after any of these readings, love to hear it, It's kind of hard to have such emotional reading in a room like this, as opposed to a live setting where we can all, take a deep breath into it. But we're doing the best we can. Yeah.
That first poem, is it called I Am?
Yes.
That was a classic.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I enjoy these very much, Mark, and I hope to join you the next time. But I must apologize to everyone. I was in the middle of another Zoom, which is rare, and I have to go rejoin it. So I'm going to on this event, and I apologize.
That's quite all right, Barry. We'll see you next time,
I
and thank
enjoyed
you for
what I
coming.
heard.
Thank you for coming along.
Thanks
Sure.
for coming.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
Sue.
much.
And check us out on YouTube when we go. Okay. So our next poet lives in Thailand, Duane Vorhees. Though he grew up in Ohio, for years he taught various subjects for the University of Maryland in Korea and Japan. In recent years, Hog Press of Ames, Iowa has published 3 of his poetry collections: Heaven, The Many Loves of Duane Vorhees, and another I don't have here, but Duane, welcome and thank you. And I'll share up with your poems up for you. I have them.
Thank you.
Okay, excuse me a second. Full screen. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to load them up. It'll take me a second. Duane. There you are. Okay. Pardon me, just had to load one then the other. Thank you very much. Duane, can you see it?
I can see it.
There you go.
All right, thank you. The why of poetry. Medicine men summon the sacred smoke of sage, sweetgrass, and cedar. They unrain the dream, and poets compose. They unmine the minefield, incite insight. Just one equals either one. Impossibility, like a dove can't be, disproved by just one sky. Permanent is not eternal. Now is not forever. To circumstance adjust, frost, flood, dust, condition isn't definition. Energy matters, matter energizes. Conception itself conceives, is always was. Life lives with no conception. Posit any sky to prove the dove's possibility or the crow's. Laws are the cuckolds, alas. 1. Laws are to lobbyists as cuckolds to coquettes. Effort and ingredients define all effects. Law resembles justice as cuckold seems husband. But greatest counterfeit can't equal or intend. 2. Seduction begins as a quest abetted by a con leading to conquest. 3. Experience inverts education. The final test done first, then the lesson. 4. Justice stiffens into law form, melts in passion's heat, dissipates just ice. Dissipates back into mystery, just ice. Agency. Of what is built the world? Of timber, steel, and stone, with bicep and testosterone? No. Of powder and foundation. Where lies the garden's lure? In garland or in thorn? The harem whips and spurs the crown to accommodate their station. Circumstance at the center of the circumference. My mind wrestled itself pinned between law and gospel, vision and division, and pondered my place within the world. A time to remember, to dismember, and then I heard inside, Jehovah, wisdom is your recognition that midgets and giants are members of one family, and the pierced are the parents of the whole. Thus saith Allah the Lord. A disputatious blue jay argues over the head of the wheel-chaired woman. And then I heard from inside Allah, the dark and the light, the female and the male, the hallowed and the damned, and the wide and varied spectra between. All inhabit the same castle hovels, eat identical fruits and breads, fill their mutual lungs with the same necessary air. They live only to die alike. Thus saith Buddha the Lord. A frolicsome collie is crushed beneath the wheels of the speeding Mercury. And then from inside, I heard Buddha. Siblings are the sinister and sincere. The thankless are inseparable from the sanctified. The unhurt and the maimed share one body after all, hidden by illusions of skin and gender, atlas and caste. Thus saith Krishna the Lord. A gynandromorphic monarch flutters to the patient finger of the eager child. And then from within came Krishna. The ancient one was an infant once, just as the babe shall one day age. Nights belong to insomniacs and narcolepts alike, and the sun is owned in equal measure by the famous and the nameless. Thus saith Ra the Lord. A jet fighter scratches its vapor fingernails against the cloudless sky. And then I announced to myself, mankind is a patchwork of the alienated and the integrated, of the squandered and the saved, of the vicious and pacific, of the sane and the imbecile, of insulted and enslaved. And heaven, shared possession of our various souls, demarcated by social lines and by lines within our minds. Thus saith I, ants parade across the yards for a mica table, and I stretched and left the porch. Quotidian. Nostalgia deferred. We all live in tomorrow's yesterday. Somebody dies, somebody enters our lives, the sky reddens, a fog sets in, airplanes crash, a package arrives, stock prices change, a buck crosses a brook at dawn, cancer spreads, a sperm enters an egg, a poem happens. We all live in yesterday's tomorrow, mysteries resolved.
A lot of wows on a.
So having,
That's just for me, that's great. That's just amazing combination of stanzas that you put into your poetry, you know, from the divine to the personal to these images that just, wow.
And
well,
such
we're all
plays on
schizophrenic.
words.